that.
Yeah, that stopped your screen share.
Huh?
Yeah, we're on screen share still.
Oh, I see what you mean. Start sending us your video. I think I am. Do y'all see it on YouTube?
I do.
You do, Josh?
I do. I don't see the duck, but I see my face and your face.
On YouTube itself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
That means we're live.
It does mean we're live.
Doesn't show up in the YouTube live streaming thing. It says connect your streaming software to go live.
yeah, but it is live.
It is, but we
I
are
checked
live.
as well.
Okay.
Why isn't the duck there? What's going on?
Oh, I haven't pinned him, but it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Unless we're
it's
screen
just
sharing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I can see us in Restream just fine. I'm also streaming us on my
There he
Twitch
is.
just for kicks.
All right. Oh, I see what you got to do. I gotcha. I wasn't sure if he was actually in the thing.
Yeah. All right.
Let's do this.
Let's tweet some stuff out. We need to make sure we get some viewers, you know.
Oh, I twatted it. All right.
You already twatted it?
Yeah.
But not from the official Weekly Open account. Well, hello, audience who's coming in here from Josh's Twitter.
I had somebody tell me that it's happening in an hour, right?
Yeah.
That would be
everyone
correct.
Everyone that's not from America is basically super confused right now.
It's our fault. Stupid Americans. Weeklyopen.com. Boom.
Oh, we did set cred. Cred bounced. You didn't like us. Lots of drama. You know how it
There's
is.
no drama
Amongst the crypto influencers, just straight drama.
Did you just call yourself a crypto influencer?
Why not? You know, I get emails telling me I'm a crypto influencer, so why not?
You might as well, I guess.
Eventually, it's got to take hold.
All right. Let's see if the restream chat will work too. I'll see if I get lucky and this isn't terrible. Oh, restream chat will work too. I'll see if I get lucky. Look at that. Lucky and restream actually lets you
Mark, I'm
go
joking.
straight to the event.
There's no beef at all. Luke's not here because he messed up a flight or some
He didn't mess up
stuff.
He didn't mess up a flight. He was out of town and I don't know. It's not a messed up flight. It's just his only flight.
It's Luke's fault. It's Cred's fault. We're all here.
We're all here. Me, Josh, and Don.
The important people. You know?
That's right. How's our sound before anybody complains about it? It's like people's favorite thing to do. Just complain about my sound.
I mean, I would complain.
Yours the best.
Yeah, they complain like I'm too quiet or the guest is too quiet. It's always one or the other. All right, let's get going. My son's going to wake up, and he's going to be in here, and I'm going to be turning my video and my voice off and letting y'all roll with it. So just FYI.
I'm ready when you're ready.
Let's go. Okie dokie. Here we got it. Oh, look at that. Okay. Well, that's just going to be that way. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Weekly Open. I'm Brian with my friends Josh and Don. Before we get to the show, I want to tell you about Blockfolio. Go to weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Make your first trade on Blockfolio today. It's super easy to switch from one asset to the other with absolutely no trading fees, fully powered by FTX. And, FTX is going to name the Miami stadium, apparently. So this is the big leagues. They are for real. You can trade there today. weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Thanks to Blockfolio for being our partners.
Allegedly.
It is reported.
The stadium.
It is reported that they may be naming the Miami Heat Stadium after FTX or Blockfolio. I don't know which. I also saw Davey Day Trader is also in the Blockfolio fam now, so they're just taking over.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to mention that.
If you don't trust us, trust Stool Presidente, but go to weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio instead. How are y'all doing?
I slept through the dip. I don't know about the duck. The duck was probably awake, right?
Yeah, I was, but I was actually like not really looking at the markets the entire weekend. I had other things to do, so I just basically came back to the price that I left at. So nothing really happened
Yeah.
in my eyes.
I'll take a cup and handle here. That's really what I'm looking for ultimately. The big thing for me though is the divergences. I'll see what you guys think about that. But the daily div looks yucky. Volume looks yucky. What do you guys think?
Before we get to all this, I hope you had a great weekend, guys.
Okay.
No, but one of y'all want to pull up a chart and then we can start looking at it.
I can.
Should we explain
my
daylight savings to people who aren't in the United States?
Yes, we should. If you're American, this feels very normal for Weekly Open for you. If you're not American, you're wondering why we're starting an hour early, and it's because Americans, particularly me, are stupid and messed up the time. Because this is my normal, 11 a.m. Eastern time, but UTC stays the same. So the daily candles are now closing for Americans an hour later than they were yesterday or the day before. And so it's going to screw up all your thoughts about when the daily closes are. Those things are important. Daily closes, weekly closes. They all changed for Americans who had daylight savings time kick in. But it gets dark later, so that's nice for those of us who want to spend time outside.
But they're an agreed upon illusion. Daily closes in crypto.
Yes, an agreed upon illusion. That's a good way to put it. Somebody, when I said that the daily close was changing, they was like, "Oh, LLL, you trade fi boy," or something like that. And I was like, "This is not traditional finance. This is literally just a candle has to close at some point."
Yeah, and that's going to be important, right? I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like what all the exchanges how they report is on UTC. So there's one, I think it's like Huobi or something that closes randomly, and it pisses me off in TradingView so bad.
Yeah, I didn't even like there was like Bitcoin Wisdom. I think reports it wrong too. I don't remember. Yeah. That was one that did it wrong.
For the most part, you should consider your daily closes on UTC time, or as Kobe calls it, British time.
I like that. They just can't stop with the colonialism.
Yeah, it's like everything's theirs, you know. Those freaking Brits been that way for thousands of years. Not going to change now.
But yeah, let me share the screen and then we talk about this.
Yeah, sounds good. Give us the wrap. My commentary on it though of the dump is it's the freaking retrace the weekend every time. Like after Legacy opens, then there you go. That's all it really is to me. But Don's got the charts, so let's see them.
I mean, we've just kind of been retesting the prior all-time high, right? So far, nothing terrible happened. The interesting part is that Bitcoin basically dumped on its own, right? The traditional markets didn't really start off poorly anyway. Like this move happened way before. Like this was green. We was trading up here, and Bitcoin started dumping way ahead of the SPX and the traditional markets. So yeah, right now it's just retesting support. As long as that's hold, we're good. And if that breaks, I mean, then we are, I think, in for some massive chop in this area.
Yeah, legacy markets are pretty flat today. Dollar's up a little bit. But when I saw that the legacy markets weren't down a lot, and then we got several percent down in Bitcoin, I just considered it weekend fake retrace. You know, go fill that gap so that CME can, not have it and then get back to normal. It just seemed very pedestrian, like nothing fancy, nothing to worry about. Didn't make me think we're at a top. It was a pretty strong weekend all in all.
Yeah. And I think in general, if you think about it, with basically like the SPX is basically back where it was. So, I mean, Bitcoin's back where it was, right? So,
yeah,
that's where we are right now.
So how do y'all feel about this from like a all-time high test or retest? Like, do you think that it's still just consolidation, or do you think it's a problem if we don't go, clear above 60K now and like make new highs? Like, do we have a chance of some kind of support or breakout failure?
I think if we close today below support, I'd be a little bit worried about that. And I'd say like any bear that wants to trade it could at that point just put your risk there and then trade it lower. I mean, it doesn't have to happen just because there's a setup there, but I mean, at that point you could, right? So I would be a little bit worried
And
that
you'd be looking
some
for
might.
like 50, 52 again?
Yeah, just like either down here or into here, or if it like completely goes maybe into the 40Ks, but I'm not really, it doesn't make much sense to talk about it before we've actually lost the support. So as long as that holds, we're good. And then if it does fail, in kind of in sync with the SPX or like in general the traditional markets, I'd still not be too worried. If it's on its own, then I get worried. If Bitcoin just starts dumping while everything else is doing fine, that'd be worrying. But otherwise, completely fine.
What are you feeling, Josh?
I've got this rising wedge. Duck, do you think this is a rising wedge?
Let me actually stop sharing so you can.
No, you're good. What do you think about the rising wedge possibility?
Oh, should I? Okay. Let me.
John's not a huge pattern trader.
Are you a wedge believer? Or are you a heretic?
I'm a heretic.
Man.
I mean, you're like this, maybe
Also,
like something like that.
Yeah, Josh, you can override his share so that you can. You're making. I'm just proud of you for making Don draw a chart pattern.
I mean, I do the head and shoulders from time to time.
Yeah, I
love the head and shoulders.
Oh yeah, it's the same lines that I drew too.
Yeah, just a bit concerned. First of all, so I did a YouTube video yesterday. Check that out. But everybody in the comments was like, "It's a super cycle. This TA doesn't matter." And you hear that
because you were saying that we are at a threat of a top.
I said we're in the bottom of the 7th inning with 2 outs. Doesn't mean we can't keep going. Obviously, it doesn't mean the 8th and 9th innings aren't going to be as long as the first 7. Just price wise, we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. And that rising wedge to 100K looks convincing to me. I don't know what you guys think about that, but BTC volume is okay. It's the ETH volume that just looks like it fell off a table.
I just think it's untradeable until it breaks down, and then after it breaks down, it's like, what's your real measured move out of that? It's so easy to like take a wedge like that and then just not do very much with it.
I mean, what you don't want is an M double top everywhere, which is what we're starting to build. I had a guy, IRL friend, message me yesterday. It's like, what do you think about an M double top on BTC and a bullish trade on Doge? Just like, I don't think that's how that works. But yeah, but if we get this M and this breaks down, then we're in trouble.
Double top is just an opportunity for consolidation. As long as it makes a higher low, I don't care.
Okay. There's technically no div on ETH because we didn't get a higher high, but there's just no momentum here. There's no volume up here. Fees need to fix themselves on ETH.
Dude.
The EIP 1559 Moon Boys need to take over the narrative, I guess. I don't know. I feel like ETH moves 5% and fees move 100%. Like they go from 100 Gwei or get whatever to 200 on a small move.
We need the chat to tell us how they pronounce it, because I said Gwei. You said Gwei.
I would say Gwei too, but
I think it's Gwei.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, ETH. I don't know, man. I have a bad feeling about ETH, honestly.
How dare you?
I really do. Although the daily 200 is actually above 1,000 now, which is interesting. For the first time ever, it's above 1,000. I like 1,200 as a rebuy. I like this zone in here as if we M double top. I like this.
No way.
You see this daily volume though? Is that not concerning to you?
No.
Look at this. Just fell off the table.
It's just descending before breakup. We may
All right.
consolidate more, but I don't think there's real proof of significant bearishness to be worried about.
Guess where the 20-week is? 1155, right in that zone.
I don't like that. Okay, that's the first thing. That's the first bear case you've given me that I find reasonable.
Oh, all of a sudden, because it's an SMA,
That's
you're
right.
all about it.
Well, we're still far from the long-term means, but you can be that can occur for a long time. You know, like either the mean catches up or you go down to the mean.
It's also a previous all-time high retest, really. You know, all this. I think all this is fair game.
Yeah.
This area.
I mean, when you look at it on this view, it looks like you could just walk away for like a month if it doesn't make that new high and like continue the markup and see what happens on the weekly candles to shape up into a better consolidation.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not concerning. It's just not exciting.
I mean, if it breaks down, it starts to get concerning real fast. But I mean, that's the weird thing, right? If you're like talking about 1.1K on that chart, that still looks fine.
Yeah.
But if that breaks, that'd be terrible.
The
and then where does it go? Yeah, in general, like let's say 1.1K breaks, where does it go? Because then it would look really, really bad.
It goes to like 400.
I mean, like that's ridiculous, right? But I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to talk about it if we get there. But I mean, I'd probably buy 1.1K if
I think a lot of people are gonna buy. I think a lot of people would be very attracted to buy ETH at those prices.
At 1K?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll rebuy whatever I sold or whatever I haven't rebought already. But
you know how big of a drop that is? Like,
yeah, it is. But look how big we went up, like 600% since March or something.
Yeah, I need that payday gift that's like the I reject.
I mean, our ETH BTC thing has actually done work. Have you seen that at all?
I can pull it up. One last thing on this, the midline for this pitchfork is at 500, so take that for what you will.
You're just trying to trigger me today.
ETH BTC, what about
it? We talked about this green box. I don't know. Let me screen share real quick, and then
you don't have to unshare anymore. You can now override each other, I believe.
Oh, how does that work? Oh, I just started again. That's sick. Yeah, looks cool. So we talked about this last week, right? And we talked about this the week before as well.
It's almost like we've had a month of candles of doing nothing.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that's the thing that needs to hold, right? And it's a little bit concerning. I agree that that's getting retested again so soon. Because I mean, this is not something that you want to see at support. Like at support, you want to see a quick move into it and it moves out. Or you want to see like a candle close at it and then it just starts creeping up. You don't want to see like a green candle and then immediate rejection after. So if I was like completely unbiased, I'd say that looks like it wants to break down. Now, is it going to? I don't know. It's still at support. I wouldn't want to short it, but
what if we got something like that stupid candle in August 2020 on the top side? Like it's almost a pretty clean fractal.
August 2020.
In the red box. In the red box.
Oh, I'm
in the reverse order.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, like this?
Yeah, like that big red. The red like super doji.
Yeah, I mean that could actually it could actually happen. Yeah.
If you get
I was confused by this as well. So
yeah,
I mean,
if you get like 0.028 to the downside and then go all the way back up and then carry on, like you're wiping people out in every direction before you do the move.
Yep.
A lot of people.
I mean, in general, I think as long as it doesn't, like this never closed above and then rejected, right? So as long as this doesn't close below, it's basically the same thing. Like if it starts closing below, I'd be worried for ETH.
Yeah, but I could imagine an intro week that like makes the low and then kind of fixes itself inside the week and then goes on the regular move.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be even more bullish. I think at this point, like if it starts creeping up, that's not as good looking as if it puts in a wick like this and then just goes.
Yeah, they seem to be stronger moves, don't they? When they like fake to the wrong side and it's like then they get the buying confirmation because there's just less fear. They're like, oh, that has now been supported as a place people are willing to buy versus being unknown that they're willing to buy in a certain location.
Yep. So the last two moves have started exactly that way. And I mean, this one too, right? The last three actually, where you had a strong candle to the upside that got completely sold into, or on this one in general, you just have these wicks that take everything out.
So what you're saying is we need to sell our ETH, buy it 10, 15% lower versus BTC, and then be geniuses.
I mean, technically, I could see that, yeah. Down here, maybe? Like it wicks into that. And as long as it closes back above, it's fine, right? If it wicks into that and still closes below, I think it's screwed.
That doesn't support our make the box darker thesis that we've had for several weeks now.
I mean, I could try to make it even darker, but I don't think it works anymore.
Yeah, it's. I think that's actually relatively representative, I think, of sentiment, right? Like everybody wants it to go up, but then it just can't. It can't climb the stairs. So then, what's the path of least resistance? It's to spike down and get shake people like me out, and then go for it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I think the chart is very hard to trade. The idea, the narrative is easy to trade. If you think EIP 1559 is going to be bullish.
If you think it's going to be bullish, you sound just like people that say the halvening doesn't matter.
Okay, look, man, I'm just saying.
It's literally going to burn Ethereum every transaction.
Oh, jeez, Brian.
It's going to burn Ethereum, Josh, every single transaction. I don't know if you've seen this, but people transact on Ethereum a lot.
That is the current propaganda narrative. And if you buy into that, I would long ETH BTC. Slow stops, maybe no leverage.
You're like ETH Peter Schiff.
How so? I'm not. I'm just a realist. Like, if you believe in the narrative, then do it, right? Like, what do I care? Because it's a good level, right? What's the upside? 0.1? Like, realistically, what's your upside?
Yeah, 0.0. I mean, we talked about this last week. How I think 0.055 is my magnet, but I could see a world where we blast past it. So 0.08, something like that.
All right, let's put a stop at 0.23, and
it's a big trade. That's a big trade if that were to happen.
Take profit at 0.08 to 0.1,
Ether Schiff is what Rob said.
I think that's a fine trade.
Yeah, you're not sharing your screen, by the way.
No, I know. I was looking at, trying to figure out if I could take a leveraged long on LTC, BTC on Kraken, and you can. So I want to talk about that in a second, but somebody brought up ADA BTC, which looks pretty gross. They're saying inverted, or they're saying head and shoulders.
Y'all think Beast sold? Beast Lorian?
I doubt
the ADA maximalist? I hope he did. I asked him to.
Oh, really? Did you?
No, I don't know that he did, but I did ask him to. I was like, congratulations, you're in profit. Now's the time to sell.
Are you that bearish on ADA in general?
Yeah, I don't know how you can be bullish on this ever for any reason, but yeah, I don't like it. I mean, look at just the history. It's like Zcash, but look at the history of what's happened at the highs. All the highs have been violently rejected every time.
Pumps, bleeds, and then does nothing for weeks.
It's been outperforming ETH though, right? Like,
yeah, for quite a while.
In general, for a long time. Even like in general. I mean, even if you count from like 18 to now, like it's still up above ETH.
Okay, well that's a little depressing to think about.
It's 75% up since like, I mean, have you charted out ADA ETH? It looks ridiculous. It looks actually like ADA is overtaking ETH for some reason.
We've got a Charles Hoskinson maximalist in the house.
No, I fucking hate the guy. I've gotten so many bad comments because I've said that over and over again. Every time someone asks me about ADA, I'm like, I mean, this chart looks decent, but I mean, I'm not a fan. And then they comment on the YouTube videos and they're like, this guy is the best guy ever. I'm like, fuck off. I just don't like him. I don't like him at all, but yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
I realized Zuku blocked me a few days ago. I don't know why. I can't imagine why. Yeah, ADA ETH looks like head and shoulders as well. I just can't imagine like stepping into this trade thinking like it's going to go higher here.
Yeah. Hey, so while we're thinking about some of these levels and stuff, Duck, you talked about, was it just last week that you were talking about how you thought we were going to go up if we got over 51?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to review that trade? Because I think of all of our things to watch, that was the most important.
Yeah.
And just talk about like maybe how that played out, and then how do you look at it from here? You know.
I'll say one last thing about LTC BTC. I think there's a decent setup here. We'll see what Mr. Altcoin wants to say about it, but I like the chart. I like the coin. We like the coin. We like the coin.
Like Litecoin. You don't like Litecoin.
But look at
no one does.
Look at this div. Look at this div on the daily, the weekly. I don't know, man. I'm getting a feeling here. A sort of feeling.
I mean, when Litecoin goes, it goes hard, right? So
exactly. So
fingers crossed for you.
Stop
I mean, for me, it's not looking like horizontal wise. It just looks like garbage. But if it can reclaim levels, I can show you what I've got on Litecoin as well.
Stop losses, margin call,
call.
I can long 3x right now. Full account Kraken.
Full account Kraken long on Litecoin. Have you not watched anything over the past month?
It goes to zero basically every time anyone does anything on there. It's so bad. No, we talked about Bitcoin last week. That was during that candle, I think.
Yeah, it's like if you get to close above that one, that's what made you think we'd just walk straight up.
Yeah, I said bulls basically already won. The only way they can lose it again is by losing the green box. Never did. Closed back above the next one, and then I was up only from there. So yeah, that played out pretty nicely.
Proper shout out, social credit points to Don for the call, because I remember being a little bit in disbelief. Like I thought we'd stop kind of at the bottom of that green box, and the fact that we just went and made the high seemed super bullish. And now that we're testing it, like it almost seems like this is actually a pretty great place to, if you wanted to speculate on a long, it's not a bad place. You're almost invalidated, but you're still like on the pure breakout, but you're not invalidated. Like it's kind of nice. I like this spot. Yeah. I'd paper long this right here, except I haven't margin traded like all year. So
yeah, I can't. So it's really frustrating because it's been real clean for me, but I just can't tax wise. So I'm just sitting there being like, okay.
Enjoying spot.
Yeah, enjoying spot basically. Like that's it. And then trading altcoins. But yeah, this is fine, I think. And this is a good situation to be in because no matter what happens, like if this closes like this and you're long, your invalidations basically close below, or like sometimes you get stop run, right? If you put your stop somewhere there, sometimes you get stop run the next day, but that's just trading. And then if it does close back below today, you can actually just take the short trade if you want to. Like, I think most people just haven't been taking the short trades. And I think that's fine to do in an environment like this, right? When you get a bearish setup, de-risk some and then just don't touch the short button, basically. But for me, like technically, if we close down here, it'd be a short entry or like a short setup, stops above there, and then you just trade into lows here and probably I think 49-ish, that area, like all the way down there.
All right, here's my paper trade setup. How I'm the conservative entry over let's call it like a 3-day period. I'm gonna buy this in thirds, and I'm gonna try to get my average entry like at the bottom of this green box, and I'm gonna do it by staggering my limits, and then my close. My stop, go ahead, maybe put it at like 54 as like a hard, hard stop around 50, or 50. That's good. 53.5.
Yeah,
that's your hard stop. But in actuality, I'm filling bids in that red area up to my full size position, and just on if it wicks back down there on a daily basis or something, So this requires some manual activity, but. You could, kind of fill 1/3 throughout that red box, like where you're in this casual setup. You're really, it's not really showing a proper entry. So you get your first third at market in case we go up. You get another third like at the actual line and another third somewhere in the red box. Hard stop, 53.5. And then if you get a daily close anywhere in the kind of danger zone, like where you were saying, then you're not going to the full stop, right? So you would be able to get out of the trade close to break even with the daily close below the green box. But until
What's
you
the
get
target?
that's what I was just thinking through. I think my target's like 66 or something like that. Good meme. But it would also be a new high, like probably some kind of fib on the mid time frames. Yeah. All right. So this is my trade setup for the next week, and I want to see if my paper long makes any sense. Do y'all hate that strategy, or do you think it's okay?
The 4 hour is a tweezer bottom right now.
And it could. That's my thing. Is like it could just go up from here, but then if you do that, you get a 1/3 size position. If it takes its time, you're going to fill up a little more.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I mean, if the market is really bullish, right, as it has been, I'd be surprised if it just. I mean, it basically ran these stops, right?
Yeah. And the
so
daily closing stop, if you get a daily close below like 53.8 or so, or 50, I can't see the numbers very clearly.
It's 56 basically, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so like 55.8. A daily close below 55.8, just go ahead and cut the trade and that's like a minimal loss, right? Like it's basically a wash at that stop.
Yeah. I mean, I hate whenever something breaks out of something and then just immediately retests. Gets me worried every time. This time it's on a weekend, so it doesn't count as much. Still has me a little bit worried, but then again, like weekend stuff, it's just that kind of ruins a lot of setups for me. Like whenever I see this, just on the charting basis, I get worried because I'm like, okay, the all-time high got taken out. We traded back above it. We actually used it as support before.
Yeah, but if the daily close gets all the way to like 57 today, your tune completely flips on that. It's like it was a amazing rejection, and now I didn't get a full fill, but I got a 1/3, a decent fill to take this trade right now.
Yeah, basically, if you want to be long, that's the trade to take. I think I agree with you there.
Risk reward's pretty good. You got a daily close that's tighter than your like hard stop. Benny Bonzi says, how much weight should we put on these large exchange inflows? Josh, could you pull up the quant flows? Because they're pretty insane.
Yeah, there was a big inflow to Gemini, and it was confirmed as Gemini. The guy who runs crypto quant is pretty active as far as asking him questions and him responding, but a lot of this stuff is mislabeled on whale alerts and bit info charts. Mm-hmm. So don't assume that somebody else is wrong because, I trust crypto quant is basically what I'm saying over everybody else at this point. We can look at Gemini in a second if I can pull that up. Yeah. One thing I'll say about this this drop real quick. The drop on the 22nd was also a Monday, right?
Are you gonna? There you go.
You're not screen sharing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This drop here was a weekend. This whole thing was a weekend thing, right? Into February 20th, 21st, 22nd was when all this happened. And we're kind of like, we're basically repeating that fractal without the Kraken flash crash.
So I think the flows question was about. Okay. So they were saying exchange inflows. I was looking at outflows. I didn't even realize what you were just saying there. There's a big inflow there.
Oh, there was a big Gemini inflow. There was a big Gemini inflow on the 21st as well. Again, back to that same drop. How much weight do you put on it? I don't know if you're...
It could be like one institution taking profit.
I just don't know why they'd send anything to Gemini ever. I don't know why anybody would use Gemini for anything. But hey, there must be some OTC deal or some incentive, right? Because the fees are atrocious. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. But in general, coins are still leaving exchanges in net, despite that, like a singular inflow.
Yeah, if we look at, I just had it up.
All exchange reserve.
Yeah, if we bring this up, it's still on the decline in general.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's hard to be super bearish when you
Yeah.
see that. And it's hard to be super bearish when you see miners selling. Where is it at? Let me find it. Sorry. It's under favorites. If we look at miners outflows or miners selling, it's actually on the decline up here
yeah.
relative to where it was.
This could be hopium, but I think we're kind of normalizing these levels. And we've had several dips without massive, without like 2x breakups, you know? And I just wonder if we're just kind of gradually normalizing 50K type stuff so that we can push to 100K before, you know, have a big Q2 push. I'm pretty bullish for the quarter, which Josh and I have talked about Friday. Don, do you have like a macro thought in terms of what kind of resistance to expect?
No, I'm just kind of in awe that we're already at 50K. Like I'm already blown away. So for me, I'm just, as long as it doesn't break anything that I don't want it to break, I'm just going to be bullish and I have no idea where it's going to top out. Because like if I'm going to guess where this is going to top, I'm just going to have that number in my mind, and then I'm not going to be able to really do anything meaningful besides like just selling that, even if it's still bullish there, right? So it's always so easy to say, okay, if it gets to 20K, it's going to top. If it gets to 30, 40, 50, it's going to be a top. And then once you actually say that and keep repeating it to yourself, you're just going to be in that bias and you're not going to be able to trade at all or properly anyway. So for me, I'm just going to be, okay, this is bullish until X happens, and X never happened besides, this one I can actually share. Like I was worried for Bitcoin once basically during the 20K to 50K rally, and that was the breakdown from 32, and that got invalidated really, really fast. And that was the only real time. Like we held the support in here, we held the previous all-time high. That's fine. And then it's going to be the same thing. Like if this breaks down, I don't want to see it make new lows. So that's going to be my macro invalidation, basically, which can flip if we just reclaim it again. But I'm going to be worried again.
Your risk off below 45.
Basically,
yeah, and then just
that's
risk on again.
That's risk off, like bear market risk off, basically.
Yeah,
because that's a large percentage drop in the first place.
Yeah, then I think if we take out 45, I mean we've already tested it before. Let me remove these drawings. Like we've retested this level, right?
Yeah,
and it's so close to this one that I mean you want that level to get front run, because if it does get tested, I mean. Maybe it bounces, but I'd be worried as long as we trade below.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be very concerning. Really, if we dropped your bottom green box there, which is what 48, 49?
40. Yeah.
That's kind of like your.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one. That to me seems like where you really want to hold if you break down from the trade that we just talked about. You know.
Agreed. Because at that point, if you're breaking that, right, it's too close to the lows I mean, you'd expect the lows to get taken out, but if the lows get taken out, that's kind of a change in behavior because we haven't really seen any lows get taken out. This one was the only one. And I mean, Tesla bought that one basically. If I remember it correctly, I think that was that. And
I think Tesla bought to take it to the high. I think Tesla inspired the big candle, but maybe they were actually filling back.
That was the announcement. That was the announcement.
Okay, so you think they were literally the buyer in the?
Yeah, I think in here or in here.
That's right. Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think as long as we kind of, I want to see the day hold today. If that doesn't happen, I mean, I'd expect chop. So something in those lines. Basically, and then as long as the support holds, it's fine. But if it does break, I mean, and starts getting concerned, and if we lose 45, then macro wise, I'd be like, okay, maybe it's time to just take a step back, give it a year or so of whatever it's going to do. And then it probably just goes up again because it's Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. I've changed my thought, but at the beginning of the year when we were like, or the end of last year, after we had run so hot, I actually thought we would have a slower year on Bitcoin. But then we moved so quickly that it made me kind of change my tune, because I think people have made so much money, it's going to just create some seasonal issues at the end of the year anyway. So I kind of think we're just going to do it all in 1 year. But initially I was thinking we might have like a 2-year cycle, and I thought 66 was my target for year one, and then 2021 would be like the 6-figure move, like 250 or something. If we really broke down from the 60K something, I guess that could pull that back on my radar. But yeah, I like that invalidation level, that 46 or whatever that was, which this is why people say, like, you never really catch the whole trend, because you could be risking off quite a bit lower than whatever the high is.
You avoid basically getting out too early, but you're going to get out too late. But that too late is oftentimes, like, if you're looking at this, at what point do you want to, like, if on the run up, right? If you want to sell in the green, basically, where do you get out? And the answer is, like, if you're selling in the green here, it goes down, you're happy. And then you're selling in the green here. And then at the end of the day, I'm actually not screen sharing anymore. Whoops. So yeah, you're selling up here, running it up here, selling in the green, right? And then if it gets invalidated here and you didn't sell and you're just selling once you invalidate it, your average is still going to be much better than up there, even though you've taken a haircut of quite a big percentage.
Mentally, though, people have a hard time with that because they've normalized the numbers of their all-time high portfolio value.
Yep, that's what gets everyone. But I mean, that's just, if you're trading, you have to take it seriously, right? And if you make plans, you kind of have to stick with them. I mean, that's why I always tell people to just write that stuff down. Because, I mean, if it trades to 40, 49 or below, let's say 45 or whatever, people are going to say, okay, that's the dip. So other people, I see people on Twitter buy, so I'm going to buy as well. But if that's your invalidation, I mean, you're going to have to trade your plan, right? And I mean, every time we go through a cycle, people at the end of the cycle, people abandon their plans because their plans kind of, it's always like you have a plan, it goes up a shitload. And then if you didn't have a plan at any point in that run, you would have made more money. So at some point you're like, shit, fuck this plan. I'm just going to trade without one. And then it retraces and you lose it all. So it's just, I mean, if you're trading seriously, you kind of have to keep yourself accountable, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Been there a lot.
I think everyone has.
Should we talk about the Dixie? It really hasn't changed a ton since last week, other than it pushed the highs, broke down a little bit, and then kind of back at it now. I might be able to pull up my screen. I don't know. I haven't tried. I can't pull up the normal screen share though. I just have to pull up the in OBS version. But if one of y'all, Josh, if you want to pull it up, the Dixie.
Yeah. It looks mad bullish to me, bro.
Yeah, it does still look pretty bullish. If this was a different asset, I would be bullish, which is what I've said for a while. I'd be a buyer here if this is an altcoin, like you've told me before. It looks like it tested the previous level. But it's not broken out yet, it's not fully flipped. And I still think 92.9 is roughly the area that I would want to see for confirmation of that. If we see that, it's going to co-align with some of these other things, like stocks and Bitcoin probably breaking down some, and at least making things a little trickier. I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. This is where my fundamentals are getting in the way of the technicals, which is usually dangerous, right?
Yeah, I know that feeling. When you're like, oh, this just doesn't make any sense. And then you get completely run over. I've gone through it before. But I mean, for me, like, at least on that chart, I mean, I could see it maybe put in a lower high here, but it does look mad bullish to me too.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. Still scary. We talked about it last week and it was scary, and it's still scary.
How's the VIX still above 20? Shouldn't that be below 20 by now?
Well,
Here's the VIX.
yeah. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of macro stuff where people are talking about some of these risks that we face. And it's interesting because most people agree that the risk that we face is actually inflation. But they basically point to all these things, you know, the VIX kind of permafloor above 20 is essentially like a market with its blood pressure's too high, you know, like, so there's some at-risk stuff. It doesn't mean it's going to die, but it's at risk. And the same with the yields and some of the stuff. So it's complicated though, because what you want to own, if it truly ends up being an inflationary issue, you could still want to own Bitcoin, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go up. It might just go down less than some other stuff, you know?
Right.
But yeah, there's some high blood pressure in the market. I feel like it's a decent way to put it. Like I don't feel like the economy is healthy.
Nah.
And
I mean, if you think about it, sorry. If you think about it, it's so crazy. Like I've been ordering food, like there's like this HelloFresh stuff. I don't know if you have it. Blue Apron, I think, is the American thing.
HelloFresh is here too, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So I've had that for a while, and then they wrote me a letter being like, okay, yeah, sorry if something's not really to the recipe, we're having supply side issues. And then you look at the computer kind of scene, and then they have supply side issues as well, and everything's just like the prices are going up like mad. And then you look at copper, which is just giga mooning, right? And it's like, okay, what is going on? Like every supply chain, or like every kind of everything that used to work is basically starting to fall apart. And I'm like, okay, how is this going to affect the markets? I have no idea. It's
everybody spent decades trying to do, you know, like just in time type stuff, like trying to essentially keep as little inventory on hand as possible, like just maintain scalability without, you know, flooding themselves with costs. And a lot of that broke, and then it takes time to play out, right, in terms of what actually occurs. So one of the people that I was listening to in regard to the macro consequences was kind of saying that, you know, if we have inflation, as the country, the world gets back to normal, there's going to be this push of people like wanting to get out, wanting to do things, and but the supply chain is still not fixed, you know. So the demand that we're already seeing is going to get greater as people get out and do really get back to normal life. And then on the other side of that, you can't keep up. So costs could continue to rise, and that's realizing the inflation, you know. And then additionally is kind of the stimulus picture is like, okay, well, is this priced in? Because we're getting back to normal, is it going to lower the desire to do additional bailouts? You know, like it makes you wonder, how does this all kind of shake out? And it just creates a lot of uncertainty. It's worth being a little bit uncertain, and you can still be uncertain and macro bullish Bitcoin, for example. But we're going to have a little bit of a sea change economically this summer as the world gets back to normal, which most of the world is planning to get back to normal this summer as the vaccine rollout essentially completes, you know, for most countries.
Yeah. I mean, Germany-wise, we've kind of went out of the lockdown for a week, and then numbers went up so bad. Now we're now going back into lockdown next week. So it's like, oh, it just ended. But it's so bad. It's getting so boring.
Yeah. But it makes a interesting and challenging trading environment because there's all these conflicting signals between things, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap up with what are you wanting to watch this week? Josh, you're up right now.
Don't all speak at once, guys. No, I was flipping through all the exchange tokens, FTT, Sushi, Uni, seeing if any of them look decent. Sushi and Uni still look like they're chopping up at the top there. 1 inch still looks like it has this ceiling at 450. I don't know, man. LTC VTC. I'm gonna go back to it. I might actually trade this week. This is like a long-term hold, though. It's not. You can't expect this to move anytime soon. But if BTC stalls up here between 50 and 60 or 55 and 62, there may be some rotation trades going on. I will say it's the best Q1 for BTC since 2013. And it's the best Q1 for ETH since 2017. So we're definitely in a spot seasonally that doesn't make sense based on prior levels. So maybe it is a super cycle. Maybe it is a new paradigm.
Feed it to me. Give us the hopium.
There's no clear, like BTC last week, there was that setup, that inverted head and shoulders. There's really nothing that I'm seeing here this week that's as obvious. You guys talked about the 55 to 56 trade. I think that's fine to take. We're going to close this as a tweezer in 3 minutes here. So yeah, maybe you long that. Your stop loss is below 54.4, and you're hoping for a new all-time high, basically. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's basically where soon disappeared to. That is. For me, it's basically this ETH level is going to shape my bias. If it breaks this week, I think you're going to have some trouble in altcoin land, basically. I mean, maybe reclaim it. If something like this happens, we break it, close below, and then actually reclaim it, I think that's going to be super bullish at that point, and then you just break the resistance and go. But yeah, it's looking weak, so I'm not too bullish on the altcoin front. I would love to see it go up, because I mean, bullish altcoin trades are basically all I can do right now. But this is troubling me a little bit. And then with regards to Bitcoin, it's basically, I mean, either if it goes below here, short target down here, or if it closes like this, long with targeting all-time highs, basically. So I mean, I think that's the easiest way to go about it. And the funny thing is, like, anyone that's not been overcomplicating things in this market has done well. So
yeah,
as long as that holds, right? As long as you can make money by being brain dead, basically. I mean, why not be brain dead? And then if it changes and you need to have a galaxy brain again to be able to kind of make money in the market, then I mean, go ahead, right? Then it might actually be bearish, because yeah, the bulls kind of go on as long as it's brainless, and then once it does start breaking down, it gets much more complicated, I think. So
yeah,
this is the sensible place for it to hold. If it doesn't, I think we're in trouble. Into like 49, and if that breaks, I'd be very worried. But as long as it doesn't, I mean, yeah, not too dangerous.
Cool. Don, could you pull up Alpha for me? It's Alpha USDT on Binance.
Yep.
So if you look at this daily, last week I talked some about like Sushi and Aave and Uni, and they all essentially did the moves that I was looking for, and then like just chopped around. So it's like they got one impulse candle and then a bunch of nothing. I wanted to look at this one because I think they had something go wrong, and then they essentially started recovering off of it. But it was really hot for quite a while. But now it's the type of coin where it's had these massive runs, and I'm curious if it can have another like significant expansion, because obviously you see what it did. But it's in this very interesting consolidation. I think you could actually enter it. Like, see the level, yeah, that if you go up between those two big candles, yeah, right there. I think you could probably play it a little tighter in terms of not having to enter at like $1.90 or $2. Yeah. So I think if we flip something like that, that can give you a decent trade setup on something like this. And what I've found interesting about it is the 160 to previous highs is a gigantic move, like percentage wise, you know. So your risk is pretty well defined on the breakdown potential. And then if it goes back to the highs, it's like a 75-80% move. So something like this, I know it's crazy because it's already up so much, whatever, but the amount it's consolidated, the kind of mid-cap DeFi narrative, because maybe these large caps are just taking their time a little more, so the mid-caps might have a little more room. Just the type of thing that I want to watch. Try to seek out some of these maybe mid-cap trade setup potential coins that so far, if they've run like this and I missed, I just ignored. But now, if we've had like a month of consolidation, it might be worth paying attention to. That's kind of my watch of the week. I'll use Alpha as my example for it.
I like it. And if it closes below that green box-ish,
hey, just get out.
I agree. I mean, it's basically, does this, even if you're like super conservative?
Yeah, it's not a bad trade.
It's not a bad trade, yeah. And then close. I mean, the fun thing with these altcoins has been that they just, like, if they want to break it, they just close below the level and then just slowly walk it down. So you would be able to get out just based on an invalidation of the close, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good representative setup. And then the other one that I have traded is Sushi, which got the one candle that I really wanted. And then it's a good example of like, it just retraced it, you know? So now it's kind of like, if this breaks down, the alpha type of trade will probably also break down. Now you're drawing wedges on me, huh? Where's my horizontal on this one?
That's actually,
yeah.
It's actually difficult to draw a horizontal there.
It's
just based on.
I was just playing it on that prior. That one right there.
Yeah.
Just turn your head sideways. Let's see a horizontal.
Yeah, so essentially I want to see Sushi save 1950, 1970, something like that. Like if it closes below that on the daily, like that ends up looking quite bad on Sushi, which is disappointing after it got that like 20% day on Friday or Saturday, whatever it was, Friday night. Yeah, they're gonna go just seek the liquidity again. I don't know.
Scary, yeah. But then again, like I'm very surprised that it's actually been this strong. Because everything else just kind of...
And that's the thing, like, while Aave and Uni, they already were looking a little bit like they're on the struggle bus, like Sushi was so prime that I bought it, and now I'm, like, back to break even and just wondering, what do I do now? And I want to see the rest of the day today, and then if we get that, then I think we could get continuation throughout the week and end up at 26, 27 Aave next week, or Sushi next week. If we break down from that, it's going to be representative of much broader breakdowns like you see versus Bitcoin and stuff, you know. So currently it feels like chop, but I'm going to have to watch it closely because I'm pretty exposed to that type of thing, like these liquid high cap DeFi coins. I don't like that line at all.
I mean, it's basically ranging, right? So
yeah, well, it's consolidating in my book, but it's if it breaks down, it'll tap the bottom of that range. And that'd be really ugly versus the dollar, especially if Bitcoin's also breaking down.
Agreed, yeah. So, but I mean, this isn't looking bad, considering like how Litecoin looks, for example. Sorry.
Wow.
There's Josh's bullish Litecoin chart.
It's my trade of the week, and you're shitting on it. Come on, man.
I mean, maybe it mean reverts or something. No, I mean, honestly, Litecoin's been kind of holding as well. If you're looking at EOS, for example, then you see like the true madness of Bitcoin Cash. Like, it's been rough, and then you look at Sushi, and then you're happy that you're actually holding this instead.
That looks like an inverted head and shoulders, if anything, building there on Sushi.
Oh yeah, it could from the like lower consolidation.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you got your chart pattern certification from the University of Phoenix like I did, you'd be able to pick these out real quick.
Yeah. Well, nevertheless, those are going to be my two representatives for top watch altcoin stuff. I'm still pretty much in hodl mode on the majors. You're You're not going to scare me out of this super cycle. I listened to the Suzu interview that we did, over and over again. Just put it in my veins. Give me the super cycle. Screw your plans.
Shoot it straight up. That's the drug that you do take, huh?
Yeah.
The hopium.
You might as well, right? You just
True.
go for broke. You're in a high risk asset class. Why are you going to cut it off because it goes down 5%? I'm just kidding, by the way. Trade your plan. But I have hopium. So I'm gonna be watching those as my 2 representatives. And that's all I got. Do y'all have anything else that you want to leave everybody with?
I'm gonna say it's okay to not take a trade. That's what I'm gonna say.
That is fair advice.
People feel pressured.
That's financial advice from Carpe Noctem. It's okay to not take a trade.
People feel pressured to do something every day or every week. It's okay to not take a trade this week. If something doesn't present itself, don't force it. That's all I gotta say.
Wise words.
That's fair. It's boring, but it's fair.
Go outside. It's nice. Weather's nice.
Thanks to everybody for joining us. You can go to weeklyopen.com, check the replays of these streams, and we're on audio now. Not on iTunes yet, but we have an audio version of the show that we'll make available to y'all. Be on the lookout on Twitter. Follow Weekly Open on Twitter. Go trade on Blockfolio. weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Thanks to them for being our partner. Make a trade today. Don't sit out. Make the trade. We'll catch you next time.